Oh, welcome everybody. Um, and like Harold was mentioning, uh, neither one of us is really a big social media person. Um, I just never really was very fond of it. I don't know if it's like a whole privacy thing, or I'm not really interested in what people are eating for lunch, or where they currently are, or whatever it is. It's never really Twitter and Facebook really never resonated with me to the point to where I'm an active user now. I do services with Twitter and Facebook. That's a totally different ball game when it comes to making money and actually personally updating my personal profile. Like I said, I do work with companies, a lot of different companies, small businesses, bigger companies, and Facebook and Twitter are rather ingrained in their daily activities in terms of marketing. So when Google Plus came along, um, nobody really knew what the heck it was. And so what we're going to do is we're really going to show you what I feel is the most common sense social network that really is available today. I think we're going to present, quote unquote, a lot of evidence to support some of our. We're going to make some pretty heavy claims here in the presentation, and I think those are going to be supported by screenshots. Um, what's going on currently in the internet world, more importantly Google, and using a lot of common sense. So without further ado, let's jump right in. And welcome to our training. So warning, you're about to receive the most comprehensive Google Plus training on the market, and that's no joke, or at least that we've seen. So be sure to take notes because you can take this training and literally turn it into money by as soon as tomorrow. So you can take tidbits or the training in its entirety and literally start to sell products or sell services to your clients right away. So here's bold statement number one. Google Plus has forever changed SEO and search. In other words, Google Plus has changed Google. And for those of you folks that are on the line that knows what Google's core business is, which by its search, Google's number one business is search. All of their advertising revenue, everything is generated from being the kings of search. But don't take our word for it. If we kind of take a look back at what's happened so far in the last 10, 11 months of this year, SEOs and their respective rankings have absolutely been hammered this year from the likes of Silly Pandas, Penguins, and it's not done yet. This is as recently as the 28th of September. Now, for the folks that don't know who this gentleman, Matt Cutts, is, he's Google's senior search engineer. He's the guy that is the face of Google search. So pretty big title there. Now, if we read through what this tweet says really quickly, small upcoming Google algorithm change will reduce low-quality exact match domains in the search results. Now, I'll get to that, what that means here in a little bit. And here's the tool that Google put out. Today is what, the 31st, so about 15 days ago, literally, a new tool to disavow links. Now, this is coming directly from Google's central blog where they do all their communications with the public. Now, they're putting out a tool to basically wipe out links on your site. So if you're the webmaster of, dog training site or whatever your specific niche is, you can go to this tool and start to eliminate sites that are going in, or to say, start to eliminate links that are going inbound to your site. Now, if I kind of paraphrase what this little paragraph says here, is it says that they're introducing a tool to disavow links to your site if you've been notified of manual spam based on unnatural links. And I want to emphasize the word notified there. I've been doing this for a lot of years. I have a lot of friends in this business that have been doing SEO, following Google, and believe me, nobody is ever notified that their site has spam on it. Basically, you get notified with a big shock. You either get sandboxed, de-indexed, put on page 50, never to be seen again, or if you're really good, never to be seen for 3 to 6 months until you really appease Google and they'll start to slowly reintroduce traffic to your site. Now, can you still hear me, Harold?
Yes, Joe, I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, okay, perfect. I just want to do a quick audio check. All right, so if we look back, let's put ourselves in the shoes that we are now. Let's say it's a year ago. So basically November 2011. If we're kind of forecasting the SEO going into 2012, what were we supposed to be focused on? We're supposed to be focused on backlinks, right? That was like the main thing that the main way that Google ranks sites. Well, the Panda knocked out backlinks. Now, what was the second thing that we were always supposed to focus on, right? We've all heard that content is king. Well, let me tell you, the Penguin knocked that out. Now, I'm not saying that content still isn't king, but we were told to write as many articles as we can. Uh, who knows how many spinners there are, article spinners, ranging from the crappy ones all the way to the best ones. Nobody was unscathed. Sites like goarticles.com, which is one of the main article directories across the internet, literally lost 96 to 98% of their daily traffic overnight. Pretty heavy stuff. And then again, what were we told? When you enter a marketplace, you always do your keyword research, you find a good keyword, and you build from there. And one of the things that you do with that keyword is you turn it into a domain name. And like I just showed you from Matt Cutts himself about a month ago, the 28th of September, those have now been wiped out. So these changes, just to kind of reiterate, these changes that are listed above have literally wiped out businesses overnight. And this is 100% without warning. You're running a business for years. Google's loving you. You're getting traffic, top rankings. Everything is fine and dandy. And then, boom, literally the switch is flipped and you're out of business. Go Articles went, like I said, they went from having one of the top traffic sites to having 96 to 98% of their traffic gone overnight. Now, this is very scary stuff. So, how do you protect yourself from Google, and what is the future of SEO? Now, these two things really go hand in hand. One component is you study Google, and you read between the lines. That screenshot I just showed you a little bit earlier about the Google's Webmaster, their blog, that's the way that they communicate with the public generally, and they're usually pretty vague. They'll never say, I don't say never, there's always exceptions to every rule, but most of the time they'll never, there's the word again, most of the time they won't explicitly tell you what they're going to do or what's coming. They kind of leave like little breadcrumb hints. So that's one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is you watch trends. You see what's ranking, you see why it's ranking, and you kind of put the two together. So you put Google's correspondence with you, and you look at the trends, and then you look at what overlaps on the two, and then from there, you can kind of see where things are going, where things are heading. And ultimately, that's the way you give Google what they want. It's all about appeasing the big Google, the big beast. I know it's kind of an old saying at this point, but it's really true. So the future of Google-friendly SEO, and as you notice, Google-friendly is italicized, and the next slide will kind of show what I mean by that, is Google+. So the future of Google-friendly SEO is Google+, and this is without a doubt another big statement that I'm confident that we're going to give enough evidence to show you that we know what we're talking about. But a quick did you know, and here's by the italicized Google-friendly SEO thing. By definition, SEO is against Google's terms of service. It's literally classified as spam. So keep that kind of in the back of your mind. Now here's what we're going to cover. We're going to cover what exactly is Google+, and give a quick history of it. We're going to show you where Google+ is now and where it's heading, why you need to pay attention to Google+, or you're literally going to be left behind. And we're going to give a full training that's going to include setting up profiles, both personal and business, configuring circles, authorship, talk about the Google badge. We're going to go over Google Local and Google Local reviews. We're going to show you multiple ways to earn what we've seen, Harold and I have seen, to be really easy money with Google+. I mean, it's kind of like Facebook starting out again, if you remember those days, if you participated in selling Facebook services. But to me, it's even easier because you're harnessing the power of the biggest search engine on the planet. You're using their social network. And we're going to cover some more as well. But first, who are we? Just a quick recap. I know when I watch webinars, I really don't care kind of who the people are. Just kind of show me the meat and potatoes. But I'm Joe. That's Harold. We have 20 years of online, offline experience. We both started in high-ticket direct sales. The smallest product was $2,000, all the way up to $20,000 products. And believe me, we were selling those things at a pretty good rate. We're software vendors. We've created multiple plugins. We've been awarded WSO of the Day. We currently have numerous monthly clients. So we are actually in the game, and we're not just teaching it. So it's not just theory. This is practical things, practical stuff that we actually do to get clients, to make money, to get them good business, and all the above. And maybe most importantly, for this presentation, we've been studying Google Plus since its inception. Now, a quick history of Google+. In 2008, Google realizes that Facebook and the whole social media thing is the real deal. So in 2009, Google starts to build what they call the Google Wave. The Wave, if you're not familiar with what it was a real-time collaborative platform. So you can be working on a document with folks all over the country, all over the world, and you can literally see in real time what they're doing, what they're typing, what they're drawing. Pretty cool tool, but it fizzled out. So the Wave was released in 2009, and in the summer of 2010, Google's Wave, it crashes. So that's failure number one. Google sees the future, the impending doom of Wave, and they start working on Google Buzz. Buzz was introduced in the winter of 2010, and after numerous privacy violations, Buzz was shut down in the winter of 2011, and this is failure number two. So Google entering the marketplace of social media, they have two big failures right on their plate, right out of the gates. And these failures were pretty highly publicized, especially the Buzz thing, because I mean everything was brought in front of Congress because of the privacy violations that they had against them. So in the summer of 2011, Google Plus was born. So what exactly is Google Plus? It's Google's social networking and identity service. In its current format, the users can segment their friends into circles, which makes privacy and sharing information safer and easier. Google Plus, or G with the plus sign, also has numerous fully integrated tools from Google Hangout to photo sharing for their users to use at no charge. Obviously, there's a lot more than that, but this is kind of just a really brief overview of a broad stroke of what Google Plus is. So where is Google Plus now? This is from the Wall Street Journal, dated the 17th of September of this year. Google says it has more than 100 million active users of Google Plus. Now, as the time of this webinar, Google has about 400 million total Google Plus users, and 100 million of those are daily active users. And Google Plus has been around for just a little over a year. So it was the summer of last year. So we're starting to head into the fall. So let's call it's been around for about 14 months, 15 months, and it already has 400 million users, and 100 million of those are active users. So you can see this is a rapidly growing trend. Full Lincoln trailer premieres on Google. And for those folks who don't know what this is Steven Spielberg's new movie about Abraham Lincoln, starring Daniel Day-Lewis, amazing Academy Award-winning actor. So it's kind of a big deal that such a mega director would premiere his trailer of his latest movie. Basically, this is a passion project for Steven Spielberg, that he would pick Google Plus to premiere this at. But again, we're kind of setting the table to where everything's going with Google Plus. Here's Walmart.com, and as you notice, the little circle down there with the arrow on Walmart.com, there's the Google Plus button. On Yahoo, direct competitor of Google, there's the Google Plus button. On TMZ. Now, I show this website, TMZ, because it's one of the top 500 most popular sites in the world, not just in America, but in the world. So it's a very highly trafficked website. And there you go. There's another Google Plus button. And the last one I'll show you here, because I don't want to beat a dead horse, is the Huffington Post, another major source of media online, another very highly trafficked, highly authoritative site. And as you can see to the right of the screen there, there's another Google Plus button. Where Google Plus is now continued, integration. It's in Gmail. Now here's a picture of my my Gmail account, and we read from left to right. That's the way we always read, and the first thing that we see at the top left is the Google Plus. Now, let me tell you, that's not by accident. And just to the right of the Google Plus is Google's main business, search. So you have two of Google's main focuses right there to the left, the Plus, Google Plus, and then the search. And then we have, this is a really big transfer right here. Google Places has now been consolidated into what they call Google Plus Local. Picture of where Google Plus here in the Los Angeles area of a fully highly optimized Google Plus business profile site, formerly known as Google Places. And you can see now on the little circle thing that used to say Places and now it's called Local. And now we have a thing called the overall score, and then everything is basically in one little place, including obviously the reviews. Now Google Hangout, just a quick little tool that Google has integrated into their Google Plus array of tools. Excuse me. Google Plus is a really cool tool that you can do FaceTime with, you can do trainings with. It looks just like the video player looks just like YouTube. You could do live streaming. You can do some really cool stuff. And this is a really cool tool that I think will impress some local businesses. I haven't tried this yet, but this is something that's definitely on my radar to try pretty soon. Is you have your website up, you have your business site up, and you can go to your Google Plus account, grab the embed code, go over to your website, paste it in, and do a live training from your own website. So you'll be streaming from your own completely branded website to your potential clients or your current clients. Pretty cool tool. Makes you look really authoritative, like you really know what you're doing, and it's very simple. The Google badge, I'm sure everybody's seen the Facebook badges, the Twitter badges. Here's Google Plus's version of their badge. Just wanted to show you this. You're going to start to see these basically right next to those Facebook and Twitter badges if you already haven't. And here's another big one. Google Plus Now, this is currently right now in the search engines, and the SERPs stands for Search Engine Results Pages for those folks who didn't know what that acronym meant. So we kind of have a lot of stuff to highlight it here and arrowed and underlined and all that sort of stuff. So let's kind of start from the top and work our way down. This gentleman, David Harry, he is in 4,413 Google Plus circles. Basically what that means is this guy really gets around in the Google Plus arena. He is in well over 4,000 different circles, so he has a wide reach of people that he has in contact with. So let's move down to the second guy here that I have the picture, the arrow pointing to his picture. Now obviously we have 3 pictures here out of 4 listings, and in this example there's one listing that sticks out, and it sticks out for the bad reason, because it doesn't have a photograph. Now what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to get your photograph in the search engines, just like Mr. Barry Schwartz here has, and David Harry, and Selena, let's just call her Selena N. Don't even want to attempt that last name on her. We're going to show you, that's one of the things we're going to show you here, is how to get your image in the search engines. And when you start to search, when folks start to search for, wherever they're searching for, most of the time at this point, you're not going to really have any authorship photographs in the search engines. If you notice, the URLs of the sites that I have here screenshot, they're all major SEO sites. SearchEngineWatch.com, SEO Roundtable, Search Engine Land. So these folks are SEO professionals. So obviously they're ahead of the curve, ahead of the game, and that's why they have their photographs in the search engines. And our last little circle here to the bottom right is it's a share button. So what this is very similar to the Facebook share, very similar to the Facebook like button, but directly populated in the search engines is the share button, and this is all attached to what we're going to talk about later, your authorship profile. All right, so where Google Plus is now continued, moving things further, they've made an acquisition here very recently, and I foresee more to come. The acquisition they made is called Snapseed. And here's a quick little article screenshot that I have, again, from a very authoritative site, Forbes.com, dated the 18th of September, so very recent. If we just read this headline, Google challenges Facebook and Instagram with Snapseed buy. So for those that don't know, Facebook recently acquired Instagram for about $1 billion. Instagram is a photo sharing site, and Google went out and bought their own photo sharing and editing site, which would be Snapseed. And this is not a coincidence, folks. Everything that Google is doing, it's really ramping up Google Plus and how much attention that they're putting into Google Plus, and it's only the beginning. And kind of as a little side note here, if you look to the bottom left, boom, there's another Google Plus button. So where's Google Plus headed? Further integration, more acquisitions. And this one's pretty cool here. Your friends' reviews in the search engines. So if you go to Google and you type in Italian restaurant in Los Angeles, California, and you have folks that frequent Italian restaurants in the area, some of them are going to leave reviews, and you're literally going to be able to see your friends' pictures in the results along with their reviews. Now, this is something that I've seen they're testing, but it's really a home run, and I for sure see this becoming more and more integrated in the search engine. So wouldn't that be cool? You do a search and you actually see people that you directly know, friends of yours, family, that leave reviews for whatever you're searching for. That's pretty powerful stuff. And you're going to see +1 buttons everywhere. It's going to be the new thumbs up button. I mean, they're going to be all over the place. I really feel that they're going to be on YouTube, another Google-owned product, of course. They're going to be on all or most authority sites like eBay, ESPN, any major authority site. For sure, see all the +1 buttons being there. And this is really going to have a much greater influence on search and rankings. It already is, and we're going to show you why that is, but it's only going to get more and more, it's only going to have more and more influence on, again, Google's core business, which is search and rankings. And the reason being is because +1s are much easier to track than backlinks. They're just more reliable. Everybody's Google Plus account, obviously Google has access to all that information, so they can know what is a real +1 Google Plus account and which is like a phony Google Plus account. So with them controlling all that data, it's much simpler for them to weed out the true +1s versus the fraudulent +1s versus the entire linking setup that they currently have in place now, which, backlinks are spread across all over the internet. They're much tougher to track, and +1s, Google controls those. So Google really has moved all in with Google Plus, and it's only been, 14 months? If they've done this in 14 months, could you imagine what's to come? So the bottom line with Google Plus is that it just simply makes sense. There's no other way to put it. Everything kind of that I've shown you up until this point shows where Google is at in terms of Google Plus and where Google Plus is in terms of the search. The web gets more social every single day. Backlink fraud was rampant. Uh, Google's job is to stay relevant. They couldn't ignore the social movement any longer, and after 2 failures, they couldn't sustain another failure in this social arena. So with them having billions of dollars, and that was with a B, of course, having billions of dollars in their coffers to basically do whatever they want, they're really doing everything that they can to force folks to use Google+. And as a little side caveat, all your Google tools are going to be in one nice, simple to use user dashboard. All right, so now it's training time. What I just showed you was kind of, what Google Plus was, where it is, where it's at, where it's heading, all that sort of stuff, kind of setting the table to why you should really take this stuff seriously. So, Harold, are you there?
I am, Joe.
Well, I'm going to put you on the screen now. Ready? 1, 2, 3. There you go. And there's Harold, folks.
Thanks. That picture was taken
transition.
yesterday.
So what I'm going to do now, Harold. Exactly. Yep. You got some beefy legs there on you, let me tell you. All right, so I'm going to transition this over to you.
Okay, while we do that, we just had a quick question. Someone asked why Google's attempt this time is different than the first time around with Wave and Buzz. There's a couple of things. First of all, they learned from their first couple of mistakes that they actually had another network back in 2005 or 6 or 3. Anyways, they've learned. And what they've done this time is they've combined it with what they do best. And Google, what do they do best? Search. They have combined their social network into search, and they have found a formula that works with everything that they do. And that is why it's completely different than the first times around, and why it's taking off and why it works so well. All right, Joe, if you want to hand over the presentation to me.
All right, sending it your way right now.
All right, and if you can let me know once you can see my screen, that'd be great.
All right, let me get my stuff situated. Okay, there you go.
All right, so now, thanks, Joe. That was great.
Thank you.
We're going to go through some actual technical training, things that you can start doing right away with your websites and how you can take advantage of Google+. So the first thing I want to cover is the basic elements that you need to have with Google. Now, Joe has covered these, so I'm going to go through them pretty quickly, but I'm going to show you what they are. The first thing you need is a G+ or a Google+ profile. If you have a Gmail account, you actually already have one of these, whether you know it or not. In the top right-hand corner, you'll see either your picture if you've uploaded it. If not, it'll just be a little logo that Google has. If you click on that, it's going to take you to your G+ profile. The way Google Plus works is everybody starts with a G+ profile, and it looks like this. Here's Steve Wozniak's profile. If you don't know Steve, he was the co-founder of Apple Computers, and Joe pointed this out today. I hadn't noticed. Steve has managed to write his name upside down in his profile, and Joe and I don't know how he did it. In any case, this is what a Google Plus profile looks like. Has your picture, and there's all kinds of different pages. Have your post you've done, have your about page. This is all Steve's information. You can do photos, you can do videos. There's information on people who are in his circles, and I will cover what circles are a little later. They're fantastic. They're one of the best features of Google+. And then down the left-hand side, we have everything else, all the different areas of a profile. So we have home, your profile, where we are now. We have Explore, where you can search around Google+. Google Events, which we've got this phenomenal thing that we've discovered recently on getting clients with Google Events. We'll get into that. Photos, circles, Google Plus Local, formerly Google Places, and there's other stuff as well that's in there. So this is a basic profile layout. The next thing is Google Plus authorship. So what is authorship? Joe's mentioned it a couple of times. And what authorship does is it allows you to link content on any website that you control or a contributor to allow Google to know that you are the author of that content. Now, Joe showed some pictures in the search engines of people and their authorship. And here's a little snapshot from a search I did. And the search was mobile site previewer. And of the 5 there, which one stands out? Of course, the one with the picture. This case happens to be my picture, but Google authorship allows you to get your picture to show up in the search results. And it's a great feature. Not too many people are doing this yet, specifically for local search terms and that kind of thing. So it gives us, as marketers and offline consultants, the opportunity to get our clients' pictures first and foremost on the homepage, and it lets our listing, our ranking in the SERP stand out as compared to everybody else. So how do you set it up? I'm going to get into that. There's a specific formula that you have to follow that links your website to your Google Plus account, and it's going to allow you to get your headshot into the search engine results. +1 button. Now we've seen these everywhere. Joe showed us that. This is a way that people can say, "Hey, I like this content." When you click the +1, it's going to show up on your Google Plus account, and even Oprah is using the +1 button now, and so it's important, okay? And this is the social aspect of it and how it gets spread around. And then we have Google Plus pages. So once you have a profile, you can actually start setting up pages. You can set up local business pages. You can set up ones for charities. There's all kinds of variations of the pages. Our focus mainly be business pages, but that's another element of Google Plus. Now, as the header here says, these are the basic elements. There's a lot more to it, but these are the things I'm going to cover in depth today and the things that you really want to be aware of. All right, so this is a Google Plus page for a company called Tesla Motors. They make these really, really cool and really expensive electronic cars. So this is a business page from Tesla. And look, they have over 500,000 people following them in their circles. All right, so how Google Plus affects the search results. There's a bunch of things that go on. So the first thing is you set up Google Plus authorship, which allows Google to understand that it's you posting content and that your content is unique to you and that you are the author. Now, there's always been these questions about duplicate content on the internet. And in a way, this help alleviates it a little bit. If I go and write a 500-word article today and I publish it on my website, and my authorship is intact, Google knows that I'm the original author. If somebody comes along and swipes that and posts it, that's okay, but they know that it's duplicate content, but they know that I am the original author, which doesn't devaluate my work, okay? So we do the Google Plus authorship, we get that set up. Then I publish content on my website. People come to my website and they +1 it. They read it, they like it, they +1 it, and they share it on their website. Now we get a social backlink to my website and to my content. Joe again touched on this a little bit, but what is the difference between a regular backlink and a social backlink? Well, a regular backlink, anybody from anywhere could go out. I think even my mother would be capable of placing a link to something to somewhere on the internet. A social backlink in the terms of Google Plus has to come from a Google Plus profile. That means the person creating the link has a profile. Google knows about them. Google knows their status within the authorship and Google Plus world, and it can assign a social value to that. Okay, so they've +1 it. We get a social backlink. We have social sharing. Obviously, the backlink is shared on that person's Google Plus profile on their page, and their contacts are going to read about it. This causes our sites to rise in the SERPs. This causes us to get more +1s, and this causes us to rise in the SERPs again. All right, so now it turns into a bit of a circle. But the big thing and the big takeaway from this slide is that social backlinks are the new backlinks, okay? And the reason they're more important now is because Google knows who is placing them, and they can assign their own value to them. Whereas before, you could go and buy a backlink package for 10,000 backlinks from forums and different things all around, get all these backlinks, but Google has started to not really know what to do with it, okay? The whole backlinking thing kind of blew up in Google's face, and in the beginning, that was their gauge, their popularity of a website with a number of backlinks to it. And in the beginning, it worked fine. And then people like us learned to game it. And we learned that we could go out and buy backlinks and force all these fake backlinks, causing our sites to rise. Well, Google has now done a U-turn. They want to get away from that. And this is one of the big ways that they're doing it. So let's look inside the Google brain a little bit. And it's a bit scary. The amount that Google knows. Google knows who is +1ing your content. And that's obvious because it's tied to their +1 account. Their Google account. Every +1 comes from a Google Plus profile, and not all +1s are created equal, okay? Google can assign a backlinking weight. So if I just open up a +1 account and I do my first +1 tomorrow, and I give my first social backlink, that's great. and Google knows that. But if you get someone that's been on Google for a long time, has done lots of +1, has authorship set up on their site, has published dozens, hundreds of articles, has all kinds of people following them, and that person +1s you, that social backlink carries a ton more weight than me, who signed up yesterday and gave you a +1. So now Google has a way of, I'm pounding this home, I know, of understanding exactly who the link is coming from and how to value it. Your authorship status rises based on the content you publish and the +1s you get. And I've just talked about this a little bit, is that the more content you publish, the more +1s you get, the more Google takes you seriously, and the more you become an authority on Google. And do you think having high authority on Google is a good thing? Obviously it is. So why does all this matter? It affects your position in the SERPs. Your authorship status, increased status, equals faster and better SERPs results. So as my authorship status increases, as I publish new content, it's going to get bumped up in the search results faster than before. Your Google Plus reach, as you build out that, you have more bigger social reach. And really, the bottom line is beating out the competition. Now, we often don't like to think in terms of beating out the competition, but that's really what it is in the SERPs. It is a competition, whether you're forcing your website up, or if you're forcing that of a client, or you're doing their Google Places or their social media, whatever it is, at the end of the day, it's a competition to get to the top and get more clients. So that is why all of this matters. All right, so the bare minimum you need to do. First thing, create your Google Plus account today. Right after this webinar, go get yourself a Google Plus account. I'm fairly sure that most people on the webinar have one of those already. Add Google authorship to all your sites, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Add +1 buttons to your sites. And start building your circles. Circle what? What are circles? Let me bring this up for you guys. Google has this ingenious way that you can segment the people that you've added in your Google Plus account. So similar to Facebook, you can have friends. Unlike Facebook, you can segment them. On Facebook, if I want to send out a message, it goes to everybody. Google lets me separate all my people I've added me into different groups. So in this example, we have friends, and then under the friends, we have the closest. This person has ham radio friends and general. And on the other side, they have family, immediate, dad side, mom side. And this is an example of the family, but as a marketer, holy cow, this is like having segmented email lists inside my Google Plus account. If you're to look inside my Google Plus account, I have it narrowed down to things such as accountants in Vancouver. I have chiropractors, Kelowna. I mean, I have specific cities and market segments in specific circles, which allows me to message and work within that one group and target them specifically. Super powerful, and we're going to get a little more into that with some training as well. And the last thing, the bare minimum you need to start doing is start posting some great content to your Google Plus account. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to cover adding authorship, but I'm going to take a quick drink of water first. Okay, so if you don't have authorship on your website, this is how it's done. You must have a good profile headshot. The picture must be a clear picture of an actual person. You can't put a horse in there. You can't put your dog. You can't put your two kids snuggling together. You've got to have a nice, clear image of yourself. And Google can read the picture. If you put nonsense in there, it's not going to show up in the search results. They don't want Uranus pictures showing up in the search results. You can only imagine what people would kind of pictures people would start putting in for what would otherwise be family-friendly search terms. So it has to be a nice picture. There's a couple ways you can add authorship. First, you need an email on the same domain as your content. So if my website is www.herald.com, I need to have an email address such as herald@herald.com. Okay, when you do it this way, you have to add by Harold Roscoe to all your content, or whatever your name is as it appears in your Google Plus account. At the end of whatever content, ever article you publish, you put by Harold Roscoe, and then you submit your email address to the Google authorship page. Now, to find that page, just Google it, and you'll be able to grab it. Okay, so that's method number one. Perhaps the easiest way, but there's better ways to do it, I believe. The second one is link content to your Google profile. You're going to create this link, and you can go ahead and write this down, or you can Google it and you can find it as well. Obviously, where it says profile_URL, you're going to put the URL of your or the profile URL of your account or your Google Plus account in there, and you're going to link this at the end of your content or somewhere in your content. And this right here where it says Google, that's the anchor text that you can change. Okay, when you link to it like that, you need to also add a reciprocal link in your Google Plus profile called a contributor link. Now I'll bring up an image, you can see what that looks like. If you go in and edit your profile, you're going to see this where it says contributor to, where you simply click that open, you add in the URL of the site that you're a contributor to. Okay, you've added the link on the site with your content. Now the two can understand, and Google can understand that yes, you are in fact the author and contributor to that website. Third method, it's new and I think it's the best way, is you can place a special link in the head section of your site. Okay, this involves a little more technical programming, and I'm not going to show you exactly how that works. You can research it because a lot of people don't get into the actual programming of their website. These are the three most common ways. There are some other little ways. There's other ways you could put buttons into your authorship page, but these are the most common and the ones that I would suggest you look at. Once you have your Google authorship set up, or you think you have it set up, you need to go to something called the Rich Snippet Testing Tool. This thing is amazing and it tests everything. Today we're going to use it for testing our authorship. So whatever method you use, test it. Okay, the Rich Snippet Testing Tool is going to be your new best friend for a lot of things, and today it's going to be for authorship. Here's the link. I'll leave that up for a second so you guys can go ahead and write it down. It's google.com/webmasters/tools/rip-snippets. As a side note, in your Webmasters account, if you have one, if you don't get one, but there's a Google Plus section. It's going to show your Google Plus network and people that have +1 your content to your website. Okay. So here is the Rich Snippet Testing Tool. At the very top here, you can see I've put my web address in. Here is a preview of what the Rich Snippet's going to look like, Local Internet Marketing Consultant. And it gives it a dummy example of the text that would appear here, but that changes according to the pages there. This tells me that I am verified. It gives me my author profile, my Google profile, author name. If there is a problem with your authorship, there's going to be a big red message here, and it's going to tell you what the problem is, okay? And it's also going to help you figure out what's wrong with it. The Rich Snippet Testing Tool can be used for all kinds of things. Microdata, if you don't know what microdata is, that's something you may want to look into for local search results. Anything that Google has, you can use the Rich Snippet Testing Tool with. It's fantastic, and I really, really encourage you to check it out. All right, so we've got our authorship set up. Let's go ahead and add some +1 buttons. This is a bit tricky, okay? If you use WordPress, there's a bunch of plugins out there that you can use to get your +1 buttons on your site. The problem is you can't always get the right position. This really frustrated me in the beginning. I'd add a +1 button, it would look good on one page, but then I go to the next page and it wouldn't look good on that page. So you have to play with it a little bit, all right? And you have to work it around a little bit to get those +1 buttons to show in the right place. There's instructions at the Google's Developers Tools page, and there is the link to that. And that's going to show you how to get the +1 button onto your website if you're doing the coding. All right, if you have an HTML site or even if you have a WordPress website, you can use the information that's on that specific page to get it there. They have a button creation tool where you can create what your button's going to look like on the Developers Tool page. There's different variations, different sizes. You can create your button and then it outputs the code that you can copy and paste into your website. And that's going to get the +1 buttons onto your website. All right, now let's talk about circles, the magic of G+ circles. This allows you to segment everyone you have added in your site. Okay, so here I grabbed this from Google Images, and this person has some interesting circles. First one is people I faked my own death to avoid on Facebook. Next one is family who will never comprehend Google Plus. Complete strangers I'd sleep with, and then perhaps the strangest one, possibly a relative I'd sleep with. You can see the examples I have here of the various Google Plus circles, and as marketers, you can see how you can segment into various groups of your Google Plus people that you've added or you added on your websites. It's extremely powerful and one of the best features of the Google Plus in terms of the social networking. All right, this is a marketer's dream, social marketer's dream, the circles. And I'm surprised other social networks haven't tried to copy this yet. With circles, you can share specific content with specific circles. So in that examples, that person can send out an email to perhaps the first segment of people we showed. You can also build targeted lists and hit them with targeted content, very similar to an email list, but better. Okay, people check their social network. They don't always check their emails. You can show videos, you can show images, you can link to other content, and it's all within the Google Plus confines. Now, there's a new player in town, and we're going to wrap up here a little bit. And as you can see from what we've talked about, it is Google Plus. You can see Facebook coming into the room and wondering what Google Plus is doing in bed with this poor fella. Okay, Google Plus is to be taken seriously. Now, I know Joe said, and I mentioned too, that we didn't take social networking seriously. At first I thought Facebook was for teenagers, but it's not. Social networking is enormous. It's big business, and and Joe have seen a lot of business come into our offline marketing businesses because of Google Plus. We have also noticed that a lot of people aren't doing it, and a lot of people aren't taking advantage of it. So there's great opportunity right now with Google Plus to use it as marketers for yourself, for your own interests, your own websites to get traffic, and also that of your clients. Okay. So as you've seen, Google is pretty much forcing people to use Google Plus, and that trend is going to continue and become more widespread. Google Plus already impacts search, both general and local. It's integrated in just about every major product that Google offers, and this is only the beginning. In fact, Google Plus is in Google AdWords now. If you see the little ads on the side and you're logged into your Google account, you can +1 a Google ad. What I want to do now is cover some ways that you can earn with Google Plus. So we've showed you the importance of it. I hope you understand that at this point. We showed you the basic elements and things that you need to be doing with it, okay? And now I want to show you some ways that you can earn with it. You can install and set up Google Plus on your clients' websites, all right? Most offline marketer or brick and mortar type businesses, they don't have a clue about their websites. Most people I work with had some person set their website up 3 years ago, and they don't even understand a thing about it. All right, so it's a great opportunity to fully Google Plus them. You can reactivate a lot of your old clients. Okay, back when in the spring when Google changed all Google Places over to Google Plus Local, I created this video and I sent out an email. The video took me 10 minutes to make, the email a couple minutes to write, and I sent it out to a bunch of clients that I had in the past that I don't have on contract anymore, and my current clients. And literally in the following hour, I had several calls from old clients, wondering what all this Google Plus business was, and is their Google Plus listing okay? And the result was I got a bunch of work helping people fully optimize their sites for Google Plus. You can create business pages. I showed you one of those for the Tesla Motor Company and manage their business page for them. You can generate new clients for their business using we have a really cool tool right now. It's in parentheses there called CS. So we're gonna get into that in a little bit. It's awesome. I ran it 2 weeks ago and I got a bunch of clients into my offline marketing business, and nobody's doing it. And it's really cool, and it uses Google Plus. So we're gonna show you what that is. You can manage their profiles, build their circles, following, and their contacts. Basically, be their social media manager for their Google Plus account, because nobody does that. And their Google Plus local listing, of course. Manage the transition and the new listing setup. Most of these slid over just fine. Some of them did have hiccups, and they need to go in and just make sure everything's correct. The images are showing, the maps are okay, and all of that good stuff. Now, we want to show you something today that we've been developing for a long time, and it's called the Google Plus Pro plugin. Okay, this is a plugin for WordPress, and it does a lot of the things we talked about today. It's really cool, and you guys are the first ones to actually even see what it does. Okay, it completely sets your site up for Google Plus in 5 minutes. It adds authorship. You know that method I mentioned to you about adding the authorship to the header? It puts it in there. You literally paste your Google Plus profile ID in there, click a button, and your authorship is set up outside of going to your Google Plus profile and adding it to the contributor section. Adds +1 buttons. It has the most advanced +1 button placement tool that I've seen in a plugin. This alleviates the problem of your +1 button covering your content. You can play with it and find the best position for your website and your WordPress theme. It does the Google badge. We've got this awesome pop-up that Joe developed. It's really slick and it works for email opt-ins. And Joe also worked really, really hard on creating a really good looking slider that comes with the plugin. So what is a slider? Well, we're going to show you, okay? All right, Joe.
All right, great job. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah. And we're gonna go to demo the plugin. So Joe, I'll hand the floor back over to you.
All right.
And we'll get started with that. There you go. You should get.
All right, I see it, and I'm good. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right.
Okay. Yeah.
So what we're looking at here is a demo site of our plugin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of show you it in action, and I'm going to show you behind the scenes of the dashboard area. So the first thing I'm going to show you is our slider. And actually, you know, let's start with the content locker since it's right here. Here's, you know, a quick little content locker that we devised, and it's obviously this is the default Pig Latin or Latin text, and everything is customizable for our content locker, and I'll show you what that means here in a second. But this whole message, boom, customizable. The button, you can do a redirect with it. You can do, you know, a lot of really cool stuff with that. So that's the content locker, kind of basic, but the whole point is to force +1s to get more social backlinks, to ultimately build your authority as an author, and in doing so, you get more rankings, right? Kind of how Harold showed in that graph, that graphic rather. And here's our slider. Now this is pretty cool. I really like this slider. As you notice at the top of the screen, and I kind of did it in Halloween colors. Here's our slider. So for those folks who get annoyed by a pop-up, we have a solve for that in what we call our slider. And we could do the slider at the top of the screen or at the bottom of the screen. And it looks really cool both ways. My preference is at the top, but obviously it looks really cool at the bottom. And let me kind of just break down what this is here. And in Halloween spirit, I did it in orange and black. The left side is fully customizable. You can enter whatever text and use a WordPress text editor, so you can change the fonts, you can do the colors, you can do everything. Obviously, I have the top line bigger than the bottom line, so enter your email for a free haunted house ticket. And then there's the email address, and I'll show you what autoresponders we integrate with automatically. So basically what you do is you just plop in your code, your autoresponder code, and it'll always output this nice, clean opt-in form. And for the slider, we're only targeting email addresses, and we've done a lot of testing, and only targeting the email address on the slider is most effective. And our little button here, this is fully customizable. This is our subscribe button or our join now button. I just wanted to customize it spooky, haha, you know, again, the whole Halloween thing. You can make this look whatever you want, fully customizable. The background's customizable, the text color is customizable. Obviously the text itself, what you want it to say, is customizable. And then we have our social media links. Again, you could do redirects with this sort of thing. And let me just show you the pop-up real fast. We'll go to this next page, the pop-up page. Boom. And here's our pop-up page. Right now we have a total of 10 separate or preloaded background images. We have 5 kind of just colored, and then 5 with there's an actual photo in the background. And again, in the Halloween spirit, this is fully customizable, fully editable. You can add whatever you want. So we say Happy Halloween to you and your family. Enter your name and email to get many treats. And again, this really nice opt-in form is just functions the same exact way as the sliders does, and it integrates with the autoresponders that I'm going to show you here in a second. Again, you just plop your code in, and it spits out this really nice, clean form. And for the pop-up, what we've tested to be most effective is the name and the email, whereas the slider is just the email. So these things are all done intentionally. This gets the most amount of activity with the name and email on the pop-up. And again, our button is 100% customizable. Once again, I went with the Halloween theme. You can make this look however you want it, change the background color, change the text color, write whatever text you want in there. And then we have our social media buttons here at the bottom as well. So now, that's kind of the brief overview of kind of what it looks like on the outside. I want to show you what it looks like on the inside really quickly. So we're just logging in. And can you hear me, Harold, still?
Yep, loud and clear.
Okay, perfect. So just like any other plugin, right here on the bottom, it says G+ Pro options. So let's look at our authorship really fast. I'll kind of just buzz through these. And like Harold says, very simple. This module is probably the most basic looking one that we have. But again, it's one of the most powerful ones as well. Because all you do is you want authorship on or off. You pop in your user ID code. You hit submit essentially, and your site now is 100% coded in the header, all the way above that. You're going to have it's going to be attached to you and your name. Let's look at the badge really quickly, and run a little faster, hamster. Again, you have your user ID, your badge type, the icon. Do you want it smaller? Do you want it standard? The theme do you have a dark or light theme? We have a pixel, the width, so you can easily slide this back and forth to make your button bigger. And then again, you just hit submit. The pop-up settings, we'll show you what that kind of looks like here. And so you can have the pop-up on or off. You want the pop-up to display on all pages and posts. So you'll select that if you want to, or do you want to have it on specific pages and posts? And obviously, for our test site here, our demo site, we only have a very few amount of pages or posts. So it's real easy. If you want to just move it over, you can go boop. If you want to take it away, you just hit the minus, and just that simple. So here's some of our logos, or some of our preloaded backgrounds. We have our 5 that are just colors, and then we have 5 that are kind of, let's call it a natural theme. Other than the skyscraper, we have the mountains, the forest, the desert, the beach. They all look really cool. And we also have an option, if you click this, and if you want to display your own image, you go right here, you browse, and you upload an own image, and there you go. You can use that as a background. Your image size does need to be 640 by 375. That was our predetermined size, and again, that's something that we did test, and that was the size that got us the maximum amount of activity in terms of responses, opt-ins, that kind of thing. And speaking of opt-ins, actually, let me get to that here in just a second. So what you can do too is you can do a delay on the pop-up, and you just add the seconds. If you wanted to put 5 seconds, so when you land on the page, it opens up and the pop-up pops up in 5 seconds. You can do that. Do you want to show the pop-up once, or do you want to show the pop-up every time the visitor visits that page? Again, that's an option for you. And here's the autoresponder. This is what I want to talk about. Here's the autoresponder companies that we integrate with. We picked 4 of the biggest ones. We integrate with Aweber, Constant Contact, GetResponse, and iContact. And again, all you do is you just go in, you copy and paste your form in there, and it automatically spits out, like I was showing you, the nice, cool, clean form. And here's the button editor. Subscribe today. Again, you can change that text wherever you want. The button color, the background color, very simple, very easy. The social media things. On the pop-up, you can have it display on the bottom left, on the bottom center, on the bottom right. Do you want Facebook on or off? And then here's basically the redirect URL, or the direction URL. So once people click on the Facebook, what URL do you want them to go to? It doesn't have to be Facebook. It can be anywhere you want to do. And the same thing goes for the Twitter, and the same thing goes for the Google+, of course. And then the display settings. Here's your customizable message, and there's your full WordPress editor. So that's pretty self-explanatory. Here's the button settings that Harold said that was giving him such a problem when you want to integrate Google Plus buttons on your site. Well, we kind of solved that. Again, we have it to where do you want the buttons on and off? Do you want them on all pages or specific pages? What's the annotation, the bubble, inline, or none? You can select your button style. Essentially, it's just the button size. You can do the width. The width needs to be between 120 and 450. And your bubble align. Left, right, bubble position, top, right, bottom, or left. And your page position. Where do you actually want it on the page? You want it top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. Very simple, very easy to use. It's really drop, point, click, and hit submit, and you're locked in and ready to go with a button, your Google Plus button, anywhere on your site that you want. And here's the functionality of the slider, which, as you'll probably notice, is very similar to the pop-up. Do you want the slider on and off? Do you want it on all pages or posts, or do you want it to be specific? Again, very simple. If you want it on this page, you just hit the plus sign. If you don't, you just hit the minus sign. Do you want the pop-up to display on the top of the page or the bottom of the page? I showed you the top, and here I'll show you the bottom here in a second. And again, here's just the full WordPress editor. Very simple, very easy. So let me select bottom of the page, and then we'll update this, and then I'll just kind of run through the autoresponder, social media, and display settings really quickly for this, and then we'll go and we'll show what the slider looks like at the bottom of the page. And the autoresponder, again, Aweber, constant contact, get response, and eye contact. So on top of everything else that the plugin does, basically getting your site completely revved up with Google Plus in a matter of minutes, it's also an extremely powerful list building tool, like your normal list, your Aweber list, your get response list, all of the above right here. So you can build lists in Google Plus, segment those lists down, or you can also build a list in your normal autoresponder. So again, list building is something that has been around from the beginning of internet marketing. It's very powerful no matter what people say, and it works. So here's the button settings. Again, similar to the pop-up, customizable text, customizable button color and background color. Social media, the same deal. Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, very easy. And then display settings. We also have a delay on this one, and we can change the background color of the actual slider itself. And then we can also mess with the transparency too. So let me kind of show you what this looks like here. So let's go to page 3, and the slider should show up at the bottom of the page. There it is at the bottom, nice and cool. And let me just mess with this real fast. So we'll do 50% transparency. We'll hit submit. Let this load, and we'll refresh this page. Am I still coming in clear, Harold?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear, Joe.
Okay, perfect. Now, you might not want to do the transparency 50% on orange because it kind of gives it a kind of a gnarly pink type of color, but you can see that it works and that it does what it's supposed to do. So let's make it all the way, and let's just kind of see what that looks like. I'm kind of interested now. But it's fully customizable. You can plug and play however you want to do it, and the background basically all but disappears. See that? It's pretty cool, right? So that's the demo of the plugin. What I also want to show you is one other thing actually is, let's go to a post. We'll look at all posts, and we'll show you the content locker in its in the way that it functions. Again, very simple, very straightforward, but very powerful in the same breath. So here's a normal post page editor in WordPress, and you just scroll down right below that. If it's closed, you just hit this arrow on the right. It's Google Plus Content Locker, and again, very straightforward. Do you want the content locker on or off? Block content after 20 words, 50 words, 100 words, whatever you want to do. Do you want to redirect? So when somebody plus ones you, where do you want them to go? Do you want them to go to Facebook? Do you want them to go wherever? You just drop in a URL and it's good. Content locker type, do you want it to be display or redirect? And again, here is the editor that you'll use to actually show what your message will be to get them to click on that. And again, I'll just refresh your memory on what that is. That's your editor for that. Click the +1 button and to read the rest of this page. So again, that's fully customizable, and that's where you do that there. So that is the software, the plugin itself. Now, what I want to show you too is I want to show you the actual membership site that is behind Google Plus Pro. So we showed you the software, we kind of showed you some of the training, all that sort of stuff, but this is way more than what it looks like on the surface. It's not just another run-of-the-mill plugin. It does a lot of really cool stuff. In my opinion, it's really cutting edge. It's really on the cusp. You're in front of the wave that Google is really putting forth when it comes to the Google Plus social network. So let me just kind of run through what this is here in a brief overview. And this is all video based. Looks like we're having a bit of a spacing issue. This video should be up here. We'll get that taken care of. No big deal.
Just refresh your page. Refresh your page, Joe. That was making some changes earlier. Just looking.
Okay. Well, I did that, so it must be. Yeah, we'll just have to fix that. It's no big deal. Just a quick spacing problem. So let me just hover over Google Plus overview and account setup, creating your Google Plus account, Google Plus overview, building your Google Plus page creation. And what this training is it's taking what we showed you in the webinar, and it's really giving you in-depth, holding your hand. Again, everything is done in a nice, clear, HD type of video, so it's very simple, very easy to follow along with. Here's the plugin itself. Here's all the modules. Here's the download and install. Here's how to absolutely here's how to use everything and absolutely get out of the most out of every single module. Here's our client reactivation method that I'm going to actually show you here in a second. But here's our CS. If we go back to if you remember back to the presentation just a second ago, using a method within Google to generate new clients, we actually created a WSO just around this one method about getting clients using Google Plus. It's super simple. It's super effective. Like I said, we've been doing this and we've been getting clients kind of like at will, and that's really, really cool. Let me just hover over this and show you what this is in and of itself. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different modules just in this one method of getting clients. So we have the WordPress, we have the plugin, we have the software to power the site. We have the training, everything you need to know about Google Plus, and then we're going to be updating training as new changes come along. And then we show you multiple ways to get new clients with Google Plus. Also, you can take this client snag method, turn around and sell that as a service to the business owner as well. Pretty cool stuff. We're really trying to cover all of our bases here. Now, reactivating clients. Let me just show you what this is real fast and just how simple this is, this method. Okay, perfect. The spacing issue looks to be gone. This is the exact video that Harold created. And once it loads here, it's about 5 minutes and 15 seconds. That's all it is, and it's super powerful. And down here is the exact email that we sent out to folks to reactivate them as clients or to generate new business. Yeah, there it is. 5 minutes and 15 seconds. Very simple, very straightforward, but very powerful. Also, what we're going to be uploading too is we're going to be putting in additional information. So here is everything that you're getting, right? You have the software, you have the training, you have the client snag method. Also, of course, we have a full help desk. And let me just show you the offer page that we have here. And it's really, once you join the Google Plus, I don't want to say revolution, but it's kind of that serious. You never have to worry about another Google update again. And I know people come out with WSOs all the time, and they're saying how to update proof your sites and this and that, but it's kind of just all theory. If you really think about it, do you think Google's going to slap their own social network? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense that they would do something like that, right? So you do everything that Google is laying out for you, and this training puts everything on a silver platter for you. So never have to worry about another Google update again. Harness the power of Google's very own social network. You can literally transform any site into a Google Plus authority in minutes. In our training, we're going to teach you all of our secrets to landing new clients at will, and much more. So here is everything that's kind of in the box. It's inside Google Plus Pro. You're going to have access to our most powerful Google Plus training that's literally on the market. It's the most comprehensive and up-to-date Google Plus training that's available, or at least that we've seen. Like I said, we've been studying Google Plus since it was created. The new authorship way of putting your authorship tags in the header, that literally just came out a couple weeks ago. Boom, we threw that in the software. So we're really up to date. We're really on the forefront of this. So what's included? I kind of showed you that in the back office of our members area, but let me just run through this again really quickly. Complete Google Plus video training. You get the software, the plugin with video training as well. You get our client snag method, again, which is our unreleased WSO that we use to get offline clients using Google Plus. And again, this is a full course in and of itself. You can use it to get clients, and you can sell the service of getting clients to offline businesses. I mean, it's really cool. It's a lot of different ways to monetize it. I showed you our client reactivation video and email. We're currently uploading a series of autoresponders that I was literally just finished writing in the last few days. Actually, this morning I was finishing up some of them, and we're going to be adding more of those. It's a series of autoresponders that you can blast out to your old clients, to new clients. Like if you have a scraper, you go out and you scrape email addresses of local businesses. You load these emails up into your autoresponder, and you set the dates, and it's set and forget. And trust me, your phone will be ringing. These things are powerful, again, because it's harnessing the power of Google. Everything that we're doing, it's an easy sell, so to speak, because it's Google. They control all the traffic, and we're just using Google's social network to get Google's traffic. Again, very simple, very straightforward. And we're going to teach you how to stay informed on Google Plus with our Google Plus update section. We're going to be updating this thing as new changes come about. As Google's always doing tweaks and stuff, we're going to be putting really quick to the point videos on what to do, how to change it, how to capitalize on it. And that's really cool because things change so fast, and a what's working now section is something that it's really invaluable. So you're staying up to date. So when you go out and you're selling clients services, or you're using these services using these teachings for yourself, what you're doing is relevant. And then we're going to do some more stuff too, adding some more stuff over the next few weeks, a couple different scripts and various items. So that's that, guys. I hope you really enjoyed our training. Our offer that we have here, it's going to be a one-shot deal. This is only to our list that we're putting out, that we're giving, and it's $40. It's literally going to be 60% off. We're going to be going out and doing a bunch of different webinars with a lot of big time marketers. They're very excited about this stuff because nobody really knows what Google Plus is, let alone how to use Google Plus as a marketer and to make really good money with it. So when we go out and we're selling it, we're going to be selling it for $97, and then we're going to be bumping it up to $200, $300, $400 product. So you guys can get in today. We're going to keep this open for 24 hours. We actually, Harold, are we going to do 24 hours, or are we going to do 12 hours? I think it's 12, right?
Sure. Well, we get a chance to send the replay. We'll send the replay out quickly. If that goes out quickly, then it'll be just 12 hours. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So yeah, obviously this training was recorded, so we're going to have it open for 12 hours. You guys can just go right there, and what we'll do is we'll drop this in the message box here. Oh, Harold already did. Perfect. I'll throw it in there for myself again.
We got a couple questions about the plugin.
You guys get a good discount.
Someone asked if it comes with developers' rights. So yeah, you can use the plugin on your sites, on your clients' websites. You can sell the plugin to your clients. You cannot sell it. You cannot sell it in forums.
Let me
and that kind of
answer this
stuff.
one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll jump in on this one. Good question. I appreciate that question. You absolutely can sell this. What we recommend is not selling it for anything lower than $100. Bare minimum $100 to sell this. We are going to give a stipulation to this, and it's one of the ways to kind of get in the door as a free giveaway or as a sign of good faith, however you want to phrase it. We will let you install it on a client's site if you lock them in for a minimum of 3 months at minimum $67 a month. That's still giving it away. I know me personally, I never have a client that pays me anything less than a couple $100 a month. But for folks that are kind of just getting started out, you might not have, I don't know, the confidence or the authority. But let me tell you, being in this arena, you already know way more than basically 99% of the business owners. And when you use a software like this, it really puts you light years ahead of even the top marketers, because again, Google Plus is such an uncharted waters for most people. So what we recommend is $97 if you're going to sell it, bare minimum, or you can install it on their sites, but you have to lock them in for a 3-month contract, minimum $67. If not, obviously at least $100 a month. Any other questions, Harold?
So someone asked about overseas marketers. Is it fair that it's only open for 12 hours? Maybe we'll do 24 so the overseas people can jump in.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll leave it open for 24 hours. We want to be fair to everybody, of course. So, and it's, like we said, it's coming out on the market next week. We're going to lining up a series of big webinars. I have a couple pretty powerful JV friends that are brokers in the industry. It's kind of the who's who. And so we're really going to put this out on the scene, on the marketplace. So if you guys want to get in on this and really take advantage of it to set yourself up and to really start to build your authorship authority and your authority in Google's eyes before the masses do, then you can do so at $40. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer to me. And hopefully that we provided a lot of value for you guys in this training, and we set the table of, even if you don't want to take us up on this offer today, you at least take Google Plus seriously now moving forward, because it really is the future. Anything else, Harold?
Someone's asking about the client snag and what it does and so on and so forth. I don't want to, in fairness, people that are actually going to pick this up and use it, I don't want to explain exactly what it does. I came up with this about 2 weeks ago. I was doing some marketing for my offline consultancy business. I mean, I do SEO and mobile and all that good stuff, and I wanted to bring some new clients in. And I wanted to do it through Google Plus, and I wanted to find a way to do it. And I kind of stumbled through it. And I actually remember Skyping Joe late one night, telling him what I discovered and what I was going to do. I was pretty excited about it. And so I implemented it really quickly. I mean, I set stuff up really fast, and I got clients. I mean, as soon as I was sort of finished it, I had a guy call me up, wanted a website, wanted Google Places on their website, and wanted a mobile site as well. So three pretty high ticket items done, all from my Google Plus, and that's how the client snag method was born. So it does work. It's phenomenal, and I do think it'll be launched as a WSO in the next little while. So we decided to put it in here because it has great value, and it's very appropriate to all this training.
Yeah, I do remember that, Harold, when you messaged me. You were kind of over the moon. It was like you stumbled upon something that not only works, but works quickly, and is, once you know how to do it, it's very simple to do. And that's the beauty of it. So again, you can use that one method. You can use the client snag method, just that one method alone, to go out, get new clients for yourself, and then you can turn around and resell those clients that you got using the snag method. You can sell them the services of snag method to get clients for them. It's a really cool domino effect.
It is. For
It
those of you
really
who want
is.
to check out the offer page, it's googlepluspro.com/discount. And the discount's because it's 60% off compared to what it's going to be starting next week. It's in the chat window as well. So googlepluspro.com/discount. And we've got another question here. Can you set up a Google Plus profile for each local business, like a persona, and build authority up for that? Absolutely. You're getting the idea here. And that's what I've done. With that reactivation email, I set up a whole bunch of Google Plus accounts and business pages as well. You have to have the profile first, but then the business page. And then you start working those, adding circles and all of that good stuff. And this is a service that you can offer offline clients, manage their Google Plus information. You guys are semi Google Plus Pro experts now, and you can show clients that there is enormous value. And the reason it works with clients and showing them this Google Plus stuff is that it's Google. Everybody knows Google, and you can pigtail on their authority. I mean, Google is the internet, basically, in the eyes of a lot of people. And when Google does something, people listen. So when you tell businesses that Google's doing something with social networking, you need to have it on their site, and I can make your picture show up in the search results next to your website, people listen because, again, it's Google. So, great question, and I highly encourage you to do that.
Yeah, and to add a little bit to what you said and maybe reiterate some stuff, it's not, and this is, when it comes to selling services, whether you're a big company that does, sells basically big, highly produced commercials for clients online, or you're a small guy, I'll tell you right now, about 98, 99% of big or small businesses or companies that do services to offline don't even offer Google Plus, let alone at this level, this in depth. Maybe it's like very generic, kind of just set up a Google Plus profile or a business page, maybe optimize it, kind of run-of-the-mill normal stuff. But when it actually comes down to Google Plus Pro and building authorship and using that to generate new clients for them and to be able to build a list in Google Plus and a more mainstream Aweber type of list, you're talking about offering services that really nobody is offering right now, and probably and the reason for that is because they can't, because they don't know what this stuff is. So you can set yourself above, head and shoulders above the competition just with this one service.
All right, Joe, I got another question. Question is, will Client Snag work for finding customers for businesses serving the public? Absolutely. That's what it's designed to do. I mean, most offline businesses, brick and mortars, they service the public. So that's exactly what it's designed to do.
Like if you think about one of the slides that we showed you, a couple of the slides that we showed you, how Google Places has now been integrated into Google Plus Local. One of the reasons for that is because the host of tools and services that Google provides their Google Plus users. So it's really a thing of consolidating everything to one area, giving more authority to those users, and then giving them the tools to be successful with it. Again, like we mentioned, Google's main area of expertise, core business, is search. And it's not just type something in and see what pops up. It's showing those folks, and mainly their advertisers, the best results possible. So when Google puts out tools, they want you to be successful with them, because if you're successful using Google's tools, they know you're going to come back. So they really are teeing it up for you to be as successful as possible with what they have here.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And I think this is just the beginning. In a couple of years, it's going to be Google Plus everywhere. So another question, is it better to publish content in your Google Plus profile before publishing it onto your website? No, not necessarily. if you had an article or what have you, and this is what I do all the time, is I will post a new blog post on my website, and it actually through RSS just goes to my Google Plus profile. But if you don't have that set up, you can post it on your website and then go and do a post on your Google Plus blog that's going to bring traffic to your website. But I suggest using setting up an RSS feed so that when you post a blog post on your website, it goes automatically to Google Plus and to Twitter, Facebook, whatever, all the services out there. All right, I think that wraps the questions up. Anything else you want to add, Joe?
No, that's it. Again, if you guys want to pick it up, it's gpluspro.com/discount. And then I'll just kind of show you guys. Whoa, I locked up here. All right, there we go. So I'm going to show you really quickly what you get again. Again, you get the software, you get the full training on the software, you get the Google Plus training, very in-depth, very comprehensive. I haven't seen anything like this on the marketplace. You're going to get our client snag method, how you can get clients and how you can get clients for the clients that you just got. Pretty cool stuff. Client reactivation video and email, the exact ones that we put out. Work like gangbusters. Client getting emails is a full autoresponder series that you can load up into your autoresponder and you can blast it out, kind of a set it and forget it kind of thing of generating new business that way. And then we're going to have a What's Working Now section, keeping you up to date on the latest and greatest Google Plus changes, because we all know that they're coming, and it's all about staying relevant, and that way we can make the most amount of money and we can have the biggest smiles on our faces. So $40 one-shot deal here. We'll have this up for about 24 hours. It's 60% off our initial offer price, which is going to be $97 next week, and then from there we're going to bump it up to $200, $300, $400. So you can really get a nice discount here. We highly recommend, if you're serious about Google in general, that you participate in Google Plus. And I think we set the tone for that, and we showed you guys enough evidence on why it's important and where everything is headed. So with that being said, I want to say thank you guys for showing up today. I hope you enjoyed it. We enjoyed sharing this information with you. Like I said, we've been studying it for well over a year, and it's kind of nice to get it off our chests and to share what's been going on with Google Plus, and hopefully it's clarified some things for you, and you can go out and take this training and make some money with it. So with that being said, have a very happy Halloween. Be safe. If you have kids, make sure you keep an eyeball on them. They like to run around, and they're little goblins and gremlins and stuff. So be safe out there. Have a good evening. And thank you for attending.
Have a good night, everyone.